Hi everyone, I'm Spider-Man 1991 and I like to read comic books, and this is the video where I talk about all the comic books I read for May 14th, 2014. Let's get started with what I got from DC Comics with Batman Eternal number 6. Pretty much in this issue, we are introduced to Jim Corrigan, aka the Spectre, who goes to see Batman about some trouble he's sensing from Arkham Asylum. However, Batman's busy dealing with the gang war with Falcone to do anything about it, so he sends Batwing to go see Jim Corrigan. And also, when Batman is tracking one of the gang's trucks, it's suddenly blown up by phosphorus. Alright, to be honest, this issue was pretty weak compared to the last 5, because last 5 issues of Batman Eternal, I've loved them, said a lot of good things about them. This is pretty much the first issue where it's been kind of meh, because basically we're introduced to Jim Corrigan. He's had some history with Batman before, but we don't actually get to see the Spectre, and he's pretty much just talking to people. First he's talking to Batman, then he's talking Batwing, and that's pretty much it. So honestly, this issue, right now, I would say is a skip it. Okay, next up, Justice League United number 1. This is the story where Adam Strange finally gets his jetpack and his spacesuit when he looks in by basically discovering it from the alien monster from last issue, issue 0, and puts his equipment on, but unfortunately he can't control the jetpack. And also the alien is able to be defeated because apparently Stargirl's cosmic rod allows her to change the alien's composition. She's able to get it to a composition that is, well, more physical, and John Jones is able to take it out with one punch. After they destroy the alien, though, the heroes are suddenly transported to Rann. Meanwhile, in space, because half the story takes place in Canada, the other half takes place in outer space, Lobo gets into a fight with Hawkman, and unfortunately Hawkman loses when Lobo cuts off the lower part of his arm, like right here. And also Alana, Adam Strange's girlfriend or assistant, discovers what the aliens who are running the base are up to, and apparently they're taking a bunch of alien DNA from different species to create an alien they call Ultra, the multi-alien slayer of worlds. And that's pretty much issue 1. Okay, I think unfortunately though, even though this is a first issue, in order to really understand what happened, you need to go back and read last month's issue 0. And I remember when I reviewed that issue, I said that issue felt more like a number 1 than a 0 issue. So I really think DC could have done a lot better by saying last month's 0 issue was 1, and this one could have been number 2, because that way it'd be a lot easier to understand. Because the last issue felt a bit more introductory. This one, you're not really gonna get a lot of it unless you read the 0 issue. So if you're smart and you read the 0 issue, I would say definitely get this, because it's written by Jeff Lemire. He's a great writer. Particularly I like the dialogue between Green Arrow and Animal Man. For instance, when Green Arrow makes fun of Animal Man, who calls upon the powers of a bunny to help him move, so he's like hopping like a rabbit. And that was pretty funny. But yeah, overall, Justice League United number 1. I would say only get this if you can get issue 2, or if you read issue 0, or you're going to get issue 0, because without that you'll really be lost without it. Okay, now it's time for Marvel, starting with all new X-Men number 27. There's actually 2 sides to this story. In the present, the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants from the future, who we saw from Battle of the Atom, are attacking the new Charles Xavier School, which is the school training facility run by Cyclops' X-Men. And also, we get flashbacks in this issue. Yay! And and the flashbacks reveal that 1 year ago, apparently we see Moira McTaggart give birth to her child, whose father is Charles Xavier. However, after she gets rid of the baby and puts it up for adoption, it's revealed that this wasn't really Moira McTaggart. It was actually Mystique. And then we cut a few years later where Charles Xavier II is now a teenager, and he pretty much discovers his telekinetic powers, and he accidentally kills his adopted mom. Then he goes to Madripoor to see Reyes, who, if you haven't read Battle of the Atom, he is the son. He's apparently the future son of Mystique and Wolverine. And apparently Reyes has been impersonating Mystique apparently killed Mystique and has been impersonating her for the past few years. And Charles finds him and tells him that, guess what, we're half brothers, and I have this evil plan and stuff. So, that was so. I have to say that the best parts of the issue I thought were the flashbacks involving young Charles Xavier II, about him being the son of Mystique too, as well as Charles. So that was pretty interesting. And also, the reason why she gave him up is because right after she gave birth to him and was holding him, she immediately caught a vision of the Phoenix-possessed Cyclops killing Charles Xavier, and then that made her give up the kid. So that looks pretty interesting. So pretty much I think this story arc is really just... Brian Michael Bendis is just doing the story arc so that he can explore more on the backgrounds of the future Brotherhood members. If you liked Battle, I would say get this issue if you liked Battle of the Atom, which is when this Brotherhood first appeared, and these were interesting characters to you, and you thought you want to learn more about them. That's the only reason to get this issue. For everyone else, it's a skip it. Captain America number 20. Pretty much Captain America escapes his mind bubble, which is almost creating the illusion that he won the battle against the Iron Nail and Dr. Mind Bubble, and also S.H.I.E.L.D. was able to recover his son Ian and Sharon Carter from Dimension Z. Unfortunately, it's all just an illusion. He escapes Dr. Mind Bubble's control. Then he throws his shield, which apparently damages right to Dr. Mind Bubble's head, which apparently damages his something. It was the control of his powers, because right when he throws it, Dr. Mind Bubble starts freaking out and suddenly jumps out the window of the helicarrier they're on. Then for the rest of the issue, Cap fights the Iron Nail, who is on the cover here in his sort of super-powered villain mode. And then basically the Iron Nail destroys the controls of the helicarrier, but right before it reaches the small country that Nuke and Cap were in a couple of issues ago, Nosvekistan. It's hard to pronounce. And apparently the thing about the Gungnir helicarrier is it can transform into a mech. Yeah, it can just basically go into a Megazord, giant fighting robot, whatever you want to call it. And that's where the issue ends, with the Iron Nail pretty much using the helicarrier to make it look like America is attacking that nation, just to discredit America. This story arc really... I don't know. It really hasn't been that exciting. It's just been Captain America fighting another person who wants to ruin America's reputation and cause a whole international incident. That's probably what Captain America is about, but it lacks... I feel like it's lacking a little finesse. Like everything almost you knew... I mean, it felt like pretty predictable. Well, except the whole helicarrier turning into a mech thing. That was something I really didn't see coming, but mostly this issue was just a giant fight scene. Again, if you like those kinds of issues, I'd say borrow it from a friend, but otherwise you can just skip this. Alright, next up, Fantastic Four, number 4. The FF, who are pretty much the Fantastic Four's backup team minus Medusa, which means that it's basically Ant-Man, Scott Lang, She-Hulk, and Johnny Storm's girlfriend, Crystal. I think that's... No, not Crystal. What was her name? I can't remember her name. She-Thing. Yeah, she goes by She-Thing. That's her code name. So, the FF from the previous series joined the Fantastic Four in their fight against the Wrecking Crew, who are apparently... Well, actually, they're not the Wrecking Crew. They're the new Frightful Four. I'm sorry for the confusion with the team names. But anyways, pretty much it's the FF and the Fantastic Four versus the Wizards' new Frightful Four, which is just him and 3 members of the Wrecking Crew. Pretty much, they fight the Wizard and the Wrecking Crew, but Reed ultimately comes up with a plan by using Johnny, who has no powers, as bait to lure them into a trap that basically has Sue put a force field around them, and because of the Wrecking Crew's amplified powers, if any of them tries to hit the barrier to get out, they would instantly die, or be destroyed. And so Wizard's like, okay, that's it, we surrender. However, Wizard tells Reed that apparently the person who hired them to attack Times Square is apparently pleased with their actions so far, and his schedule is already going on, and that right before getting arrested. But the real moment in this issue happens at the end where Reed, Sue, and Ben Grimm return to the Baxter building, and they find it surrounded by S.H.I.E.L.D. And Maria Hill reveals to Reed that because the building is basically a crime scene for the interdimensional invasion that happened in issue 2, S.H.I.E.L.D. is now commandeering the building, and also she hands Reed a court summons, and that's the end of the issue. Okay, so Fantastic Four number 4, pretty great issue. Johnny, at the end of issue 2, Johnny Storm lost his powers, and right now we're still kind of exploring that, where Johnny's pretty much no longer the Human Torch. That is something that he's always been proud of. I mean, heck, I'm pretty sure whenever Johnny Storm introduced himself, he'd say, Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. In fact, even in his little monologue in this issue, Johnny says, I'm Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. Wait, no, I'm not anymore. And, now you're starting to kind of see and so since he's just been used as bait, you're starting to see that, the depression that I think Johnny's about to go through without his powers. And also, the thing about Reed being the Fantastic Four being summoned to court, I think that might tie into what exactly happens to Ben Grimm. Because if you remember, at the first issue of this new Fantastic Four series, Ben Grimm was arrested and put in jail. So I think this might tie into that. We might get to see maybe what happens in court ultimately leads to Ben getting arrested. Maybe. Not entirely sure, but who knows. So far, this series looks interesting. There's still the air of mystery about who's doing all this stuff to the Fantastic Four and why. We have no idea yet. Who knows? So far, I'd say Fantastic Four is pretty much a buy. Right, next up, Nightcrawler number 2. Basically, Nightcrawler and Amanda Sefton visit the circus in Germany where they grew up, hoping to see, and they also see their adopted mother, Margali, to know if she knows anything about the dude who attacked them last issue, Trimega. However, though, when they get to the circus and they talk to Margali, and pretty much the Trimega shows up and gets ready to attack them, and because apparently they came here searching for information, but they just let the villain right to them. So, yeah. Okay, Nightcrawler. I would say get this if you're a big Nightcrawler fan. That is the only reason to get this issue. Everyone else, you can skip it, because really, this is pretty much Nightcrawler's solo series. It really more ties into the stuff that's connected to him rather than the X-Men. So I would say if you're going in thinking that there's going to be Nightcrawler dealing with X-Men stuff, no, that's not the case. But it's going to be Nightcrawler dealing with stuff that's more closer to him than any of the X-Men. So I would say if you're a big Nightcrawler fan, you know everything about him, pick this issue up. If not, you can just skip it. Okay, and that's it for my comic review this week. Thank you for watching my video. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. Also, the first full-length trailer for the Flash TV series came out today. I am so excited for that series. I cannot wait for it in the fall. So yeah, and also I'm going to be working on a video where I talk about the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Arrow season finales that happened the last few days. So stay tuned for that. Again, thanks for watching. Thank you for subscribing. I'm Spider-Man 1991 saying see you later.